Hello, friends. Welcome to Story Time from Angie W. Cox Library, located in downtown Partyville, Wisconsin. Today I'm reading two stories that go with our theme of springtime. The first story is Grandpa's Garden Lunch by Judith Kuefler, and the second is The Dicker and the Flower by Joseph Kuefler. And before I start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our stories. And of course, we always love when you stop in and see us in person. First up, Grandpa's Garden Lunch by Judith Kuefler. Grandpa liked to work in his garden. Sarah liked to help. Grandpa dug a hole, and Sarah dropped some seeds in the ground. They patted the earth smooth. Grandpa watered the garden with a hose. Sarah used her watering can. She watered Grandma's herbs. They were growing in pots with their names on sticks. Grandpa and Sarah watched the birds in the garden. Sarah saw a red bird. "It's a cardinal," said Grandpa. She saw a bluebird. "It's a blue jay," said Grandpa. One morning, Grandpa said, "I'll take you to my nursery." "You're too old for a nursery," said Sarah, laughing. "It's not for me," said Grandpa. "It's for plants and trees." Grandpa chose tomato plants. Sarah chose a plant with yellow flowers. "It's a marigold," said Grandpa. "My favorite color," said Sarah. Grandpa bought some packets of seed and a dozen yellow seedlings. "A border for the garden," he said. "Sarah's border." Sarah dug a hole in the ground. Grandpa put a plant with yellow flowers in the hole. They patted the earth smooth. Grandpa watered the garden. Sarah watered Grandma's pots of herbs, her new border, and Grandpa's tomato plants too. The garden grew and grew. One day, Grandma invited Sarah for lunch. "What are we having?" asked Sarah. "We're having the garden for lunch," said Grandpa. Sarah laughed. They went outside to eat in the garden. On the table was a vase of flowers. "My border," said Sarah. "How pretty!" "A garden vase," said Grandpa. They drank iced tea with sprigs of mint in it. "Garden tea," said Grandpa. They had a lettuce and tomato and cucumber salad. "Garden salad," said Grandpa. They ate spaghetti and tomato sauce with basil in it. "Garden sauce," said Grandpa. They had zucchini cake for dessert. "Garden dessert," said Sarah. Sarah, Grandma, and Grandpa finished their garden lunch and sat out in the sun by the garden. Our next story is The Digger and the Flower by Joseph Kuefler. It was morning, and the big trucks were ready to work. "Let's hoist," said Crane. "Let's push," said Dozer. "Let's dig," said Digger. Together they built tall buildings for working. They built roads for driving and bridges for crossing. They built and built until the loud whistle blew. "I'm beat," said Crane. "Me too," said Dozer. The other big trucks took a break, but Digger did not. He had found something in the rubble. "Hello there," he said. The flower was tiny, but it was beautiful. Every day, while the other big trucks built, Digger visited the flower. He watered it when its leaves looked dry. He shielded it on windy days. And just before he switched off for the night, Digger sang the flower a bedtime song. The flower grew, but the city grew too. Soon, every space had been filled. Every space but one. "We need to put a building here," said Crane. Dozer started his engine. before Digger could stop him, Dozer blew a big puff of smoke and cut the flour down. Then the other big trucks went back to work, but Digger did not. When the smoke cleared, Digger saw something in the rubble. "Little seeds," he said. He scooped them up and drove. He drove past the tall buildings, past the farthest house on the farthest street. He drove to a place no big truck had ever been. There, Digger stopped. He dug and scooped and tucked the seeds into the warm earth. Every day, Digger cared for the seeds. He watered them when their leaves looked dry. He shielded them on windy days. And just before he switched off for the night, Digger sang the flowers a bedtime song. I hope you enjoyed our stories. Don't forget to drop in the library to pick up the craft that goes along with these stories.